Hello, crafters and artisans, and welcome back to Psychedelic Squid Fiber Arts. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make a new Maiden for your spinning wheel. I'm missing the sister Maiden for holding the flyer assembly, so I'm going to be making another one. Thankfully, I have this one, so I can just copy this existing one. But if you don't have either Maiden, I can show you how to make a template for one that matches your existing wheel. To make a template, first take a picture of one of the decorative legs and import it into Paint or other image editing app. Then, using the layers function, you'll create a guide for the scale of the Maiden. My Maiden needed to be about 10.5 inches long, including the part that rests in the mother of all. Your height will vary, but it has to be tall enough to allow the flyer to spin freely. I made a square that was roughly 10.5 inches tall to reflect the size I needed. You can use the scale function in Paint or use a ruler in the photo with the spinning wheel leg. Once I have that measured out, I'm going to use the selection tool to distort the image to fit into my 10.5 inch box. You can play with using only one part of the leg or all of it, just whatever you think looks best. Once I have my selection of distorted spinning wheel leg in the 10.5 inch box, I'm going to create a new layer and trace along one side of the leg. Then I'm going to duplicate that layer and flip it horizontally. Make sure you use the selection tool on the duplicated layer so that it flips just the layer you're on and not the whole image. After that, you can delete the image of the leg and fill in any missing gaps on your outline. Then you can print this out to scale and cut it out as a template for the new Maiden. I have an existing leg, so I can move on to the next step without issues. I'm using a square dowel of oak that's 1.5 by 1.5 inches. I'm going to measure the length of my existing Maiden, which is 10.5, and add 1 inch for the depth of my chuck. Then I'm going to mark and cut an 11.5 inch piece of oak dowel to turn down on my lathe. I've already centered my piece, and the first thing I'm going to do is turn it down to round at a diameter of 1 5/16 inch, which is the fattest section of my existing Maiden. I'm going to check this frequently as I do this to make sure I don't go too far. Once I have my dowel turned down to 1 5/16 inch, I'm going to color code my dowel for turning. Blue means to keep that section, and black means to turn that section down. So I'm going to mark the fattest sections of my Maiden on the dowel in blue, and then mark the next sections to be turned down in black. I'm going to spin it up and make the mark around the full diameter. I messed up here, but I double checked and remarked it correctly to reflect the keep and turn down parts. Now I'm measuring the next fattest sections to determine the diameter of the next sections I need to turn down. If you're using a template, you can reference that for the diameters and lengths of the sections of your Maiden. I kept repeating the process of marking the sections to keep and turn down until it closely mirrored the original Maiden. I did make a few mistakes, but overall, I'm happy with the outcome. I'm going to sand it down to 240 because any higher and I find the oak doesn't like to take stain. Lastly, I'm going to cut it off at the chuck using a hacksaw while the lathe is turning. You can see how it looks in comparison to the original and how it looks set into the mother of all here. Next time, I'll show you how to cut out the setting for the leather bearing. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, and feel free to visit my Facebook page or Instagram to ask clarifying questions or about things I haven't covered yet. Thank you all so much for exploring the depths of your creativity, and I'll see you next time.